My favorite Western movie of all time is called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. It's an old spaghetti western from the 60s. Spaghetti westerns were called spaghetti westerns because they tended to be directed and produced by Italians, and they tended to be filmed in Italy and Spain, attempting to make them look like they'd been filmed in the American West. Anyway, it's an old Clint Eastwood movie. It's got a classic background sound that if you look it up, you probably have heard it, no matter how young you are, even if you've not heard of the movie. Anyway, I refer to The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly because I'm going to talk about that here as part of going over how to use citation generators, citation machines, to assist you in creating accurate citations for your papers and essays in this class. So let's get started on what to do and what not to do with citation machines. There are a lot of options out there for citation machines to use. The one I recommend is to go to Purdue OWL, which I discuss in detail elsewhere. It's probably the single best resource for college students on a wide variety of information on how to write college level essays and papers, how to do research, how to do formats. It is a great one-stop reference. And it also has a citation generating machine as part of it. Now, it's like any other machine, it's not perfect, but if you follow the instructions I'm going to go through here, it will work for you just like any of these others will. One thing I will note about this is I don't recommend, you may choose to anyway, but I don't recommend using third-party software, in other words, software not provided through Canvas or by the College of Eastern Idaho, or that you do not already own, that requires you to provide personal information about yourself, including emails and such things. If you choose to do that for whatever reason, fine, but it is not something I recommend. So the one I'm recommending is Purdue OWL. It can be a little clunky, but if you follow the steps we're talking about here, you'll be fine. There are two important things to know about using a citation machine, a citation generator. One, as with anything involving data, it's garbage in, garbage out. If you give it bad information, inaccurate information, it's going to spit out bad information, and it's going to give you something that is going to be inaccurate. And all citation generators are not created equal. Some of them want you to register, some of them are better than others. This is all a part of artificial intelligence, and not all artificial intelligence is created equal. So again, my recommendation is Purdue OWL. It isn't perfect, but I think it's reliable and it's safe. I'm going to walk you through very briefly, but step by step, one approach to using a citation generator. So let's say you're doing a paper or a presentation or an essay that involves research about water conservation in Idaho. This is a big topic right now in the state of Idaho. It is always a big topic in the state of Idaho because much of our state is a desert. And so despite the fact that we have this huge aquifer that we sit on top of, that we water a lot of crops, we are water deficient in Idaho. So let's say I want to find a good source and then create a citation for water conservation in Idaho. First thing I'm going to do, and I have a whole separate lesson on how to use Google Scholar, is I'm going to go to Google Scholar and I'm going to type in Idaho water conservation. And here's what it finds for me. Here's the result of my search on Google Scholar just using the three words Idaho water conservation. And there's a whole bunch of stuff here, much of which is going to qualify as a scholarly source. There are some books, but mostly there are journal papers. And in looking this over, there are a number of good sources here that looking interesting to me. And so I'm going to go in and look at the second one from the top, climate change, water rights, and water supply. And I'm going to make sure that that one has information that's helpful to me in my research and for use in my paper. So I open up that link and I see that it is an officially recognized peer-reviewed journal. It's got really interesting information, so I spent some time going through it, reading the abstract, reading the paper itself, understanding what it is about. And then once I have decided that, yes, this is something I want to refer to in my paper, in my essay, in my presentation, then the next step for me, aside from figuring out how to use it, which is a whole separate process, is to create for either APA a reference for the references page, or in MLA a reference for the works cited page according to the relevant format and style. So I'm going to do one for MLA here. So what you can see here is I've gone now to Purdue OWL and I found their citation machine, and I have clicked on journal article for the type of reference I'm going to use, and then I've just copied and pasted the reference, the link to the paper that I want to create a citation for. And now I'm going to click on Cite. Once I click on Cite, here's what it brings up. It finds that specific paper. I confirm that, yep, that's the paper that I read, that's the one I want to use. And so I now have Purdue OWL's citation machine find the right reference for me that I want to use in my paper. Then I simply have it create my citation, and there it is. That's the citation, and I can copy that. I can just look at it and type it down separately into my paper. There are a number of options that you can choose from here. It's basically a copy and paste. Now you want to make sure that after you're done, that the font and the font size and the formatting all is uniform with the paper you're writing, and so it may require some additional work. But what I think I have found here is the right reference, the right citation format, and it's been created for me through a good citation machine. So finally, I want to make sure that it is in proper format. It's in proper style, in this case MLA. And so I want to go find, and Purdue OWL has a whole section on a sample of what a works cited page looks like, or if you're using APA, what a references page looks like. And I want to compare them and make sure that what I have found using the citation machine is an appropriate and accurate reference for MLA. And so here what I've done is I've put two references side by side. One that I pulled off of Purdue OWL for an entirely different kind of paper, and one that I used Purdue OWL citation generator to create. And I can see that the styles are accurate, that they are similar. Now, elsewhere in another video, I explain how to create that hanging indent where the lines after the first line are indented. There are simple tricks for all of these kinds of things. That's a separate lesson. Those are all the steps that you need to follow if you choose to use a citation generator. Now, the other alternatives are you can have at your command a copy of the handbook, the MLA handbook, which I always have on my desk. It's probably $20. You may or may not want to spend that kind of money. There is a copy in the CEI library, or you can use the CEI Tutoring Center. to assist you. Now, regardless of the process you use, the final assignment that you submit is your full responsibility. You can't come back and say to me, well, I used the citation generator and it made a mistake, or the tutoring center made a mistake, or whatever. Ultimately that doesn't work. It's your work, it's your assignment, and so you're responsible for it. But these are just various tools that you can use to try to make the process of getting it right a little simpler.